All right, exercise 3B, you have add, subtract, and you also have multiply and divide. Now, yesterday's lesson, I showed you that to multiply fractions, you do, what was the line again? How do you multiply fractions? Very good. So that line there, top with top, bottom with bottom. So the example I gave you here is top with top, so 2 times 1, and then bottom with bottom, 1 times 2. What's the problem? This is what I see a lot of students do. When I give them this fraction, yes, you're right, multiplying fractions is top with top, bottom with bottom. But to do 25 times 18, unless you're using a calculator or you're going to do it on the side by hand, that's a pain to do. I'm going to use a calculator just to figure out what that answer is actually. So 25 times 18 is 450. That's 450 over 15 times 20, 300. That number is huge. And this is the problem for a lot of students. Not many students know how to do this without a calculator. So then they get stumped right there. That's why we try to teach you the extra technique, which is on this side. Simplify early. Even though it is correct, top with top, bottom with bottom, that is such a huge fraction that it stops you from actually getting to the final answer. So even if you did have the final answer, unless you had a calculator, I do, I can actually type 450 over 300 and it simplifies it for me to 3 over 2. Now the answer is 3 over 2. But how many of you could actually simplify that huge fraction? Not a lot of us in year 8. Okay, so what's the alternative? Here's the alternative. This is my lesson today. So today I'm going to teach you, when you get big numbers like this, you're going to look for something to make it smaller. Otherwise, you get stuck here. All right? So I'm teaching you a technique to not get stuck there. This is how you do it. The reality with multiplication is this. 3 times 2. What's 3 times 2? 6. But if I swap the order, 2 times 3, what does that give me? So that means order doesn't matter. So when it comes to multiplication of fractions, your goal is to see if you can simplify any fractions first. So when I see a 25 on 15, if you rewrite it, 25 on 15, don't keep it like that. Don't take it as a fact. See if you can make it smaller. Now, if I'm looking at the top number and the bottom number, do they both have anything in common? Yeah. Yes, they do. 5. Very good. How many 5? So we know 5 fits into 25, but 5 also fits into 15. How many times? Good. So 5 fits in 25 5 times, and 5 fits in 15 3 times. So what this is nice is that you don't have to write 25 on 15 timesing that. You can actually rewrite it as 5 on 3 because it's equivalent. That's exercise 3A. 3A is teaching you to make it smaller. So we're making 25 on 15 is the same thing as 5 on 3 times, now 18 on 20. What number can you see that goes in both 18 and 20? So there's a top number and a bottom number. You always look for the top and you always look for the bottom and you find what is in common. What's in common between 18 and 20? What's the most obvious? 2. Halve it. So let's halve it. If I divide it by 2 and I divide this by 2, I will get how many 2s in 18? 9. So half of 18 is 9. And then what's half of 20? 10. This is a much better fraction to work with than had you done that. Now you can go back to how do you multiply fractions? Top with top, bottom with bottom. This is much easier. If I did top with top, bottom with bottom, I will get 5 times 9. What's 5 times 9? 5 times 9 is 45, and 3 times 10 on the bottom? 30. But notice, the answer's still not simplified to 3 over 2, but it was better. This is much better. If I asked you, can you simplify this? Most of you would be able to figure out what number goes in 45 and 30. But you see, I still haven't actually done the most simplest form. See, why don't I teach you 3 times 2 and then 2 times 3? If we're looking at this 5/3 and 9/10, let's look at the first fraction, 5 and 3. Is there a number that goes in 5 and 3? 1. No, there's only 1, right? Is there a number that goes in 9 and 10? No. But remember how I told you when you do timesing for fractions, you said top with top, bottom with bottom. Who said I have to do 5 times 9? I could actually swap the order and say it's 9 times 5. Now, why would I swap the order? See, if I swap them, can you see? Now if I ask you the same question again, because 9 times 5 and 5 times 9 is the same, if I ask you this now, is there a number that fits in 9 and 3?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, there is. And suddenly it's doable. This is why back in primary school, they might not have taught you that you can swap it, but this is what they used to teach. They used to say, cross-simplify. The language is called cross-simplify, but really the reason is because you can swap them. It doesn't matter. So all you have to do, what's the tip? Look for a top number and look for a bottom number. Not a top with a top, not a bottom with a bottom, but you have to find a top number and a bottom number that you find has a common factor. So here, what I would have said was, well, 5 and 3, no, they don't have anything in common. Then I say, what about the next top number? 9 and 3 do have something in common. Now, what do they both have in common? A 3. So here I'd say, how many 3s fit in 9? 3. So this now becomes 3. How many 3 goes in a 3? 1. But then if I look at this top number and then this bottom number, what number goes in a 5 and 10? Not 10?
2.
Oh, yes, it's 2. The answer is 2, but the number that goes into it is 5. Right? So 5 goes into 5 is once, and 5 goes into 10 twice. Now, can you see? Let's rewrite that fraction. I just simplified it as 1 and 1, 3 and 2. So if I rewrite this fraction again, your life would have been much easier had we got 1 over 1 times 3 over 2. If we actually did top with top, bottom and bottom now, you actually get 3 over 2 as the answer, the same way I got on my CAS calculator. But you can see, I'm simplifying them. Yeah. I never tried to multiply them until I simplified everything down. So if I had to summarize what I just did before, here we go. Let's have a look. I just went from 25 times 18, 20, and what was the bottom number again? 15. We then simplified it down to, we said 5 goes into both numbers. You told me that 5 goes into 5, that's 5 3 times, and then you told me 2 for both of these. That's 9 on 10. Then I took another step. I simplified it even further. I said, actually, these ones have a factor of 3, and these ones have a factor of 5. And then I went down even further. I had 1 over 1 times 3 over 2. And then from here, that's when I did top with top, bottom with bottom. That first 2 steps is where a lot of students give up. And that's what 3B is. That second part of 3B, this is where I see students give up. Because it's the times tables, it's the factors. The better your times tables, the better that you can figure out what number fits in what, then you can do this quicker. The method is not tricky. It's just the fact that whether you know your times tables or not. And that's where from grade 3, 4, 5, and 6, I can tell straight away whether you learned your times tables well or not. If you learned your times tables well, you should be able to get to this step. You should be able to do this fraction. And you would have got your answer as 3 over 2. Make sense? So that's what I want you to practice. I want you to practice finding top number, bottom number. Top number, bottom number. Yeah, so this is the top number, bottom number. Top number, bottom number. Whereas this one was top number, bottom number. Top number, bottom number. Find the numbers that you can make smaller. Simplify it. Otherwise, you'll end up with a very big fraction and then you get stumped. All right? Let's try another one. Not yet. We're going to do this example on the back. All right, team. Before we do dividing fractions, let's practice simplifying. Okay, so let's look at your textbook. I'm going to pick 2 or 3 questions for you to try. So these numbers are smaller than the one I gave you. I want you to try E, F, G, H. I'm going to give you about 12 minutes, so that's 2 minutes per question. Oh, sorry, that's 3 minutes per question. I want you to try 4, E, F, and H. See if you can simplify and don't just do top with top, bottom with bottom. The numbers will get too large. See where you can simplify first. Okay, that's the skill. The skill is to find the top number, bottom number. Have a go. You got 12 minutes. It's currently 12:50. Let's go. 12 minutes. I'm going to pause the video. Of fractions. Is it recording now? It is recording. All right. Dividing fractions. I'm not going to teach you the why just yet. I'm going to teach you the how and get you to practice. When you're dividing fractions, this is what I want you to do. We know from primary school, and I'll tell you the reasoning later on, but right now just learning the technique. When you're dividing by a fraction, you do what we call the reciprocal. What does reciprocal mean again? Anyone remember? What's reciprocal?
When you flip the fraction.
Good. Now, this is one of the problems I find students do. The reciprocal, so I'll spell it, means to flip. A lot of students don't know which one they're flipping. The one that you flip is always after the division sign. Okay, not the one before. So in this question here, if I want to do 3 over 4 divided by 1/5, in primary school they taught you to flip the 1/5. So it becomes now 5 over 1. And see that division sign? That division sign now becomes times. I'll tell you why next time. Okay, I'll explain why next time. But right now, just trying to get you to memorize the technique. When you're dividing, you flip. Always to flip the one that's after the division sign. Okay? Now that you've got this step, this is now similar to what you've been doing, multiplying fractions. How do we do it? It's always top with top, bottom with bottom. So that means on the top, you're doing 3 times 5. I'll change the color. And on the bottom, it's 4 times 1. What's your answer? 3 times 5 on the top is 15. 4 times 1 on the bottom is 4. You can leave your answer as improper fraction, or generally the textbook might prefer mixed. So you change it to mix. How many 4s fit in 15? 3 wholes. Remainder? 3 times 4 is 12. The remainder of 3 over 4. Okay, so you ask yourself, how many 4 fits in 15? It fits in 3 wholes. This is your remainder. So if it helps you to remember, I'm just going to annotate it. How many wholes? Remainder. Okay, so today's lesson, or the final lesson, is to divide. How do you do division? You always flip right after the division sign. Why do I say that? It's because in a test, sometimes I give students this and they make it wrong. Sometimes I do this on purpose. So I do this. I do 1 on 5 divided by 3, and then I tell the students, simplify, I'll find that value. So if you look at that example, what do you think students will do when they say flip? Which one will they flip? The first one. A lot of students, when they do this, they will flip this one, and that's wrong. You don't flip the first one. You never flip the first one. It's always after the division sign. So this should be 1/5 divided by, change 3 to a fraction. Change 3 to a fraction, and then you flip it. This is the one you flip, not the first one. This will give you the answer of 1 over 5 times 1 over 3, which we know is 1 on 15. Okay? So, be careful when you're doing the division. Next lesson, I will show you why do we do the flip. Why does that exist? Okay, and you can then remember it in a logical sense. But right now, that's all I want you to memorize. So what have I taught you today? I taught you how to multiply fractions, top with top, bottom with bottom. But be careful, if you just do top with top, bottom with bottom, the numbers get too big. And if it gets too big, you give up. If it gets too big, you can't times them. So, simplify. That's the skill you want to take. Today's your last lesson on this week anyway. So, what do I want for your homework? I do want to see exercise 3A. 3B, if you can even just show me the addition, subtraction, upload that so that I know you've learnt addition, subtraction. Because I've got your quizzes so I can tell, but also I want to know what you're doing as extra practice. Okay? So 3A is what I definitely want to see, equivalent fractions, by Tuesday. I'm going to stop the video here.